Hey, Kelly Staggs here, American Irrigator, trying to make you a better irrigator. Consider subscribing, that way you don't miss any tips. I'm in my trailer today because where we're working is on a busy street, and I had some stuff I wanted to show you, but I couldn't show you out there because it would have been way too loud, and there's a lot of people working and all that, so I came back here to my trailer. And so there's a few things I want to show you today. When you're doing a commercial job, you've got a separate meter for just the irrigation, you've got to tie onto that meter. Today in this video, I'm going to show you a couple different types of fittings that you can use to tie onto that meter. Let me show you something. I've got this fitting here, and this actually went onto the water meter. And sometimes the city guys don't like you even taking this off, but I recommend you taking this piece off. It's just a threaded piece that can come off the end of the meter. That way you can thread your piece on there, and you know you can get it on there good and tight and not have to wrench down towards where the meter is. But you know, you can tighten this part on the meter once you get your fitting on there, and it's just fine. But I like to do this because you can get it out of the hole. I can thread my Teflon tape on here. I can put my fitting on there, make sure it's on there good and right, and then I go put this piece back in. Makes it a whole lot easier. But when you do, there's a couple different things. When you take this off, one of the things I wanted you to notice is it's got these little gaskets, and they're kind of some type of material gaskets that the city puts in there. When you take this off, be very careful that you do not lose these things, because it will not seal and it'll leak. You got to call the city to get them back out here, and sometimes you don't know when that could be, and then they're going to be mad that you even took this off. So make sure that when you take this off that you don't lose any of these. You keep them, that way you can put them back in there, and then you can get a good seal when you put this fitting back in there. But what we've got here, we've got this threaded piece, and this is brass. You got to be careful sometimes putting PVC onto brass. Most of the time, the problem is guys over tighten the fitting, and the fitting cracks. And so most of the time, what you're going to use a regular Schedule 40. This is a female adapter. It's threaded on the inside, and then it's slip on this side, so I can glue a pipe straight to this. So one of the ways that I used to do it, and most guys do, is they get this. This is a Schedule 40 fitting that just a regular fitting. Put your Teflon or whatever you like to use on there, and you screw this on there. Problem is, a lot of times what you do when you just have this fitting, guys will put it on there and they'll tighten it too tight, and it'll just make a crack right there. And then it's got a problem. You got to dig it all up and replace it and all that. And you've got to be very careful just putting a regular Schedule 40 fitting over a brass threaded piece here. But this is one way you could do it. It does work. Be careful when you're threading it on there. Make sure you don't over tighten. That's most of the time. The problem is that people over tighten it. And so you want to be careful of that. But this is a fitting. It's a female adapter. And that's one type of fitting you could use to tie onto this end of this meter, and then go over to your double check. And just to let you know, these cost about 53 cents. So it's definitely the cheapest way to go, but sometimes it's not always the best to go the cheapest route. You can do it, it does work, but sometimes it's not always the best. I want to show you a little bit better way to do it. The next way to do it is you jump up. This is a Schedule 80, same type of fitting, female adapters, threaded on this inside, slip on this side. So once this will thread on here, I can glue straight out of it. Same exact way, but this is Schedule 80. A whole lot, you know, that you can tell. Actually, let me show you the difference between the two. So you've got these two. Let me get it. It's kind of hard to tell here in the trailer because of my light, but this Schedule 80 is thicker than this Schedule 40. So you can take this Schedule 80 fitting, female adapter, screw it on here, it works just fine. It actually works great. These are great to use. You've got a lot more plastic around there. Most guys, they call it meat. You got more meat to go around that brass, and it has less tendency to crack, even if you kind of over tighten it a little bit. You still want to be careful not to over tighten, but this right here is a good way to do it. You've got a good strong fitting. It's stronger than the Schedule 40 fitting, Schedule 80, and it's going to work great. Bad thing about this fitting right here is it costs about $5, a little over $5. So 53 cents, $5. Definitely money-wise, cheaper way to go. This is definitely a better fitting. I think they're maybe a little bit proud of it. You could probably find them cheaper maybe. But $5 for this fitting right here. So I don't know if this is the best way to go, really. Money-wise, it's not the best way to go. But it is a good fitting. If you feel more comfortable using Schedule 80, I feel more comfortable using this fitting over that Schedule 40 fitting. And I used to use a lot of these until I learned another way to do it. Another way that you can do this is you can get a threaded, this is a reducer bushing, but you can get one threaded on the inside here. And so what you would do is you would take this reducer bushing, you would thread it on there, and then the next step you would do is you would take a coupler, glue that over that, and then if you wanted to reduce back down, like what I had here is this is a 1 inch to 1.25 inch reducer bushing. Got an 1.25 inch coupling, it's slip on both sides, so I glue that on there. If I wanted to go straight back to 1 inch, I'd have to do another reducer bushing and put it back on there. And it looks kind of funny and a little bit ridiculous, but I will say this. If we're talking meat, which means the most plastic around this brass fitting, this is the way to go. You've got a lot, you've got almost double what it would be, especially double of the Schedule 40, but it's got even more plastic and meat around this than a Schedule 80 fitting. And so you could take this reducer bushing and I'll actually show you exactly what I'm going to do. So I had to go get a 3/4 one because I didn't have it. So I'm going to thread this on there. Of course I'm going to put my Teflon and do all that, but I'm just showing you. And then the way this meter is kind of faced and the situation I'm in, I want to go straight down off the meter. So you can do the same thing with a coupler. I can put a coupler on there, or in this case I'm going to put a 90 on there. It's a 1 inch 90. This is a 3/4 to 1 inch threaded reducer bushing, and I'm going to glue this 90 over it, come straight down, and then actually go straight into a sleeve across the driveway up to the building. So this is going to be actually work perfect for what I've got to do. But even doing it like this, I've got almost double the meat because I'm putting 2 fittings over this brass piece. I had a guy show me this one time and said, hey, let me show you another way to do it. And he showed me a deal like this. And I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So I started doing it that way. And most of the time this is what I end up doing is a coupler, and I just come out with this 1.25 inch. Or they've got all kinds of different sizes of these, depending on what your meter size is, the fitting coming out of your meter, or what size your main line is. Might depend on what type of coupler you want to come out with or anything like that. But if you do it this way, you've got a lot of plastic around this brass fitting. And so it's less likely, you can still mess it up if you work hard at it, but it's less likely to have a problem, to crack, and it's going to last longer. It's less likely to freeze and have a problem, although I don't anticipate this freezing because it's actually pretty deep. But this is a good way to do it. If you've got coming out of a water meter that you're tying onto, mainly for a commercial project, that you have your own meter going to the sprinkler system, and you've got a fitting kind of like this, it's got threaded on the outside, get a reducer bushing and a coupler or an elbow or whatever you want to do. Put your reducer bushing on there, then glue your other piece, and you've got double the plastic around it. And it works great. And now I'll tell you, so if I had to do 3 pieces here, reducer bushing threaded on this side and another reducer, get down to the 1 inch, because I have a 1 inch main line on this job. This setup right here actually costs about $3. And so not too bad. It's a couple dollars less than the Schedule 80. This was $5. This setup's $3. Still more than the 53 cents for the one piece, but I feel a lot better about doing this than I would just putting this regular old Schedule 40 female adapter on it. And so this is actually the way that I do a lot of the ones that I do. And depending on the situation, every job is different, and so you want to have several different ways to do things. And that's one of the things I wanted to show you today we've got 3 different ways that you could, different fittings, different ways that you could put this together. I want to know, guys, if you have a different way, man, let me know in the comments, or if you make a comment on which one you like better, or which one you like to use. I'd like to hear about it, and I always like to learn new ways to do things. And so if you got something even better, hey, let me know, because I'll start doing it that way too, and then I'll start sharing your cool new way to do it. But I hope this helps you guys. Work hard out there and keep trying to become a better irrigator and trying to do things better and right every single day. See you later.